Hey, what's going on, guys? Thanks for joining me today on Mind Muscle Meditation. I appreciate you. So today, what I want to do is talk to you a little bit about cortisol and the effects on the body. I'm going to get a little bit into adrenal fatigue and burnout and why this is an important subject for people that are naturally looking to build the best physique for natural bodybuilding, natural fat burning, especially. Um, this is going to be something that's really important for you to consider. So, first, if you're not natural or anyone that's using steroids, what you have to understand is that by injecting testosterone, you actually blunt the effect of cortisol automatically. So not only are you having, the benefit of extra hormone of testosterone in your bloodstream to promote more muscle and burning fat. You're also buffering the effects of cortisol, so you can get away with a lot more training, a lot less rest, um, a lot sloppier of a diet, depending on your goals. I mean, if you're just like the regular, gym goer that's, looking to have a regular life and you want to put on muscle, um, you can do a cycle of 350 milligrams of testosterone, which is, fairly low, and you're gonna probably put on 20 pounds of muscle. You're gonna burn fat. You're gonna increase the androgens in your body. So yeah, I mean, and you're buffering cortisol, so you're gonna feel great. You're gonna have lots of energy. It's really easy. But for people that are natural and you're trying to basically biohack your body, you have to be really strategic in how you work around cortisol. So, first of all, a couple things that increase cortisol. So, stress. Stressing will definitely increase your cortisol levels. Um, that's why I recommend you have a good mindset through meditation and taking control of your thoughts. A good way to control your thought is to ask yourself, if you have a negative thought or a stressful thought, is this thought useful? And the other question to ask is, how does it behave? So I actually learned this from a TED Talk. And if you ask those two questions, it kind of reframes the thought and you're able to kind of put it in a third party um, perspective where, it's not you, it's not your thought. You don't have to associate yourself with that thought. It's not necessarily your consciousness. It's just that thought is coming into your brain. So that's a good way to kind of combat the cortisol effects of stress from having negative thoughts. So another big thing that will increase cortisol is lack of sleep. You definitely need to be getting probably 7.5 to 9 hours of sleep every night. I know Arnold said sleep faster is what he would recommend, but Arnold, as well as many other people, that are in the muscle building industry, were on steroids. Arnold loved testosterone, DECA, Dianabol. Those are some of the compounds that he uses. So yes, you can definitely get away with less sleep if you're using something that will battle cortisol, such as testosterone. So deprived sleep is really bad. What I would recommend is if you're going to, if you cannot get 7.5 hours of sleep, which you probably can if you rearrange your schedule, but at least sleep in 90-minute increments, because that's going to be an REM cycle. So 6 hours, 7.5 hours, 4.5 hours if it's really bad, or 3. If you take a nap and it's longer than like a 20-minute power nap, you want to, take a nap around an hour and a half, 90 minutes. So lack of sleep will really help, boost cortisol levels, which is what you don't want. So lack of sleep is a problem. Next thing is alcohol and caffeine. I'm going to put these kind of in the same category. So basically, alcohol is going to reduce your sleep at night. your quality of sleep. It may help you fall asleep faster, but that's not really beneficial if you're not getting a quality of sleep. And of course, alcohol has significant estrogen effects, which you're just getting, estrogen from the alcohol itself. And then if you're drinking beer, you're actually getting extra estrogen from the hops. So that's like a double whammy, plus the extra worthless carbohydrates in the alcohol. And, alcohol is 7 calories per gram, just so you know. So, it's, if you're putting on extra weight, that's extra estrogen. But we're talking about cortisol right now. So it definitely, is something that will stress you out. It relieves stress momentarily, but like any drug, there's a high and then there's a low. And part of that low is increased cortisol. So, caffeine, same thing. You have a high, you can work out harder, you can go longer in the gym. But the problem with caffeine is it has a half-life of 6 hours. So if you're taking, you know, 300 milligrams of caffeine when you work out, which is pretty much an energy drink nowadays, um, you're going to have 150 milligrams in your system 6 hours later. So if you work out at 8 in the morning, well, at 2, you're going to have 150. And then, you're potentially going to have more, you're still going to have caffeine in your system when you're about to go to bed, if you're taking that much. And typically the average pre-workout dose is 300 milligrams, if not more. Some are less. But, that's going to stress you out as well. And that definitely raises cortisol right away. So another thing you may want to consider is during your workout is taking a intra workout with a little bit of carb and a little bit of amino acid. That will help buffer cortisol. Not working out too long for too intensely. That will definitely help you lower cortisol, because when you work out, you increase cortisol. And you have to remember that cortisol is a stress hormone. It's designed to help you deal with stress. So it's great when you need it, but you don't want to tap out your adrenals by constantly pumping cortisol, because then you're going to be in a chronically fatigued state. And you're going to have high cortisol levels, and cortisol and estrogen both battle testosterone. So really what you have to do is you have to come to this natural muscle building game in a very strategic way. And the only way that you're going to be able to do it naturally is capitalizing on your hormones. Because if you're not injecting synthetic material such as insulin, testosterone, derivatives of testosterone, any other anabolic steroids, or growth hormone, then you're really, you're left with what you have. And if you're suppressing that with elevated cortisol levels, then you're really not even giving yourself a chance at fulfilling your natural potential when it comes to, putting the most amount of muscle on your frame. So, lack of sleep, alcohol, caffeine, poor dieting as well, that'll trigger cortisol within the body. The more fat that you have on your frame, that's going to, not be good for cortisol levels either. So, when you have chronically elevated cortisol levels, which a lot of people do because they don't get enough sleep, they eat like crap, they're drinking alcohol at night, they're having caffeine in the morning and throughout the day, and they're working out too much, you're going to burn your adrenals out. You're going to burn yourself out. And, that's going to make your testosterone plummet. You're not going to be able to recover very well. So, managing your cortisol is a really serious thing. As a natural person, you have to take it very, very seriously. And again, you have to come at it with a strategy. So a couple of strategies for you guys is, first of all, go to bed at the same time every night. Go to bed, 10:30 is what I would recommend. And if you're getting 7.5 hours of sleep, then you should be able to wake up at 6 and feel fully rested. I would recommend cutting out all alcohol. Caffeine, I would recommend cutting out as much as possible. It's very difficult to cut that out completely, but I would probably recommend like maybe 1 cup of coffee or 100 milligrams of caffeine before you work out if you absolutely need it, which you don't need it because it's just a mindset. But if you enjoy it that much, you may want to consider cycling it, and using 100 milligrams of caffeine only before you work out. Intro workout, good quality sleep, not just quantity, but quality. Um, Vitamin B1 will help you combat high cortisol levels, vitamin C. And you also may want to take some digestive aids. If you have digestive issues that are related to stress or chronically elevated cortisol levels, you may want to consider like kombucha, um, sauerkraut, kimchi, kefir, pickles. Those are really good. Apple cider vinegar, because you may have damaged your digestive system with some of your bad habits, lack of sleep, stress, caffeine, alcohol, and you need those things to help your body heal so it can absorb like the vitamin B1 and the vitamin C, so that you can actually heal your body from the chronically elevated cortisol levels. So combating cortisol is super, super important for natural bodybuilder, anybody that really wants to build muscle naturally and fulfill their own potential. So I'm going to probably cut it off right there. I don't want to make this video any longer than it has to be. I do appreciate you guys joining me today and listening. And if you felt this content was of value to you, then please consider subscribing. And again, thanks for joining me at Mind Muscle Meditation. I'll see you next time. Take care.